Hi, Katie Fowler here. I want to introduce you to my new book from C&T Publishing, Foolproof Art Quilting. It's all about my process of coloring, layering, and stitching on fabric. I start with a plain piece of white fabric. I use Kona cotton prepared for dye, and I add inks, paints, pens, markers, all sorts of things. In this book, I show you exactly how I do that. But there are some bonuses in this book. C&T did such a beautiful job. I talk about why my process is foolproof at first, and it's because if you don't like the composition, you can always cut it up. I spend a little time talking about the creative process using Alice in Wonderland and Through the Looking Glass. Talk about the creativity crushers and then the big ones like perfectionism and comparison, resistance, procrastination. Some of you might be able to relate to those. Then I talk about color theory. Remember, it's a tool, not a rule. Just go through the basics, show you some examples using my color wheel. And so it's showing you some examples of pieces that I've done using those color combinations. The next bonus chapter is all about composition and design. I briefly go over the elements of design and the principles of design so that you have just a little background to get you started if you've never painted or done something like this before. It will help you in your traditional quilting too, just to know this stuff. Then I go through the materials that I use. Talk about why I choose the materials that I use. Then I give you a bird's eye view of what I do, and I provide some composition maps, I call them, like framing, using a horizontal line, and give you an example of all of those. And then I dive in very specifically to each kind of material that I use. And I do that by starting at the beginning and going through and talking about all the different materials that I use and taking you through one project from beginning to end using all the different materials. So you get an idea of exactly what I do and how I do it. This is probably my favorite part of the book. I call these the lessons, and I've got several quilts that I take, again, from beginning all the way to the end, and I show you exactly what I do, blemishes, mistakes, and all, and how I fix them, because I rarely start over anymore. That's something that I talk about with creativity. Life's just too short to start over. After those lessons, I go through what I do at the end. In each section, I have a word about creativity, and I talk a little bit about the creative process. I wouldn't call this wisdom per se. I don't think I'm grand enough to talk about wisdom, but I share some of my experience and some of the things that I've learned making my whole life. I'm a certified creativity coach, and I've been a maker my whole life, and I have some tips, I would say. And I know the creative process inside and out, and it's not always friendly to me. So I know what to do about that. My different techniques for finishing, go through very specifically how I do that. I talk about different finishing techniques that I use, and I show you how to do those. Talk a little bit about stitching. And then the special part, oh no, I still don't like it. If you don't like what you've done, you can always cut it up and put it back together. And I go through that process very specifically, one at a time. In this final section, The Dreamer Returns, I talk about the creative process and what it's meant to me and what I hope it means to you. And then there's a gallery at the end that just shows some of my work. And that is the tour of Foolproof Art Quilting, Color, Layer, Stitch. It's a way to rediscover your creativity. It's also the fun, no-fail approach to creating art quilts. Hope you enjoyed it.